Well, I mean, I don't want you to worry about that.
Share later. So how many people all go on there?
I'm going back to my part.
I'm glad I didn't wear my green shirt.
I just.
Oh,
And I have been twins. I have a shirt just like that.
Quite a stylish group, don't
This group cleans up pretty well. And Julie doesn't. Style for you like that.
I'm sorry, y'all missed out.
No one's gonna complain.
Okay, well.
You had other things to do.
Well, it was much fun today.
Well, that too. You can always go by. Yes. We're just like thinking
Oh, yeah,
about
mine
stuff.
was-
They have, like, an insane.
Didn't help them.
Much better.
Oh, no, don't tell me you're stressing already.
I mean, this helped me.
Oh, yeah.
My son wants to go to Monday night.
Are we ready? Are you ready? Wait a minute. We're almost-
Is everything
Everybody
here, right?
Everybody here?
I think everybody's.
I think so. Never mind. We're good to go. A couple of things. I'm gonna pass these around. This is the, EOK levels. And I got home last night, I had no internet, which I assume was because of the storm. So I waited and waited, didn't come back on, waited a little bit longer, thinking, well, it's still lightning, maybe that's it. Finally called them, and they said, oh, no service interruptions in your area. So then I spent thank you so much, a lengthy amount of time, on the phone trying to get my internet back up, which I did. But then neither one of my printers would come up as connected. I unplugged them, I replugged them, I did all that kind of stuff that you do, and both of them were reading. So, thank you very much to Ralph. We also have, you got my message, we also have Bloom's taxonomy passed around. And thank you very much to Tony for making us a copy of the, thank you very much. So we have a glossary, and everybody should get a copy of each of these. So I appreciate the teamwork. I really had planned to do that, but best laid plans. And of course, before we go any further, these are already on, everybody has one of these. Before we go any further, Laura, could you please scan?
No.
Just bow to
Yeah,
me.
it really wasn't that bad. After I found 6 color post-its and kind of a lot of people where it's supposed to go. But to me, this is, and we can move it if y'all like, but it's just an easy visual representation of how things aren't distributed appropriately.
Okay. So Laura did all this for us, so it saved us a lot of time, scissors, taping, cutting, all that kind of thing this morning, so we really appreciate it. I really appreciate it personally, I think everybody else does.
Did you do this in a motel room last night?
Procedurally,
They were all over.
I would like to suggest, and this is really up to you whether you want to do this or not, but I'm going to suggest, just from kind of the way the group operates, that when somebody brings up a topic, that the first time we go around and hear individually, and then we take a period of time for open dialogue, because I think this group really prefers that time for open dialogue. And then when we come to mentioning, getting down to honing what exactly we want to put on our post-it and so forth, then we'll do another poll of the group. Does that sound like that might work better for you than having to maybe go around every time?
Yes.
We seem to have a nice time talking here.
It seems to me like we could put some limit on that, we can limit it if you want to, just so we keep moving like to 10 minutes of open discussion.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, as long as our facilitator will keep it moving, or your chair.
Liaison, sorry.
Or just set like a little timer for 2 minutes, and then we have 2 left, you're like, okay, one more time. Because you've done a really good job at that at your right.
So we'll set it for a certain amount of time. Another thing I've had groups do is say that one person can't speak again until 2 other people have spoken, just to keep everybody. I don't think we got too much trouble with that. We may not even need that part of it. If it gets to seem like we do, we'll always add that in later. Is that comfortable for everybody? Because I do think that open discourse for this group seems to work really well. Okay, that will be our change in our protocol. Chief, it's up to you.
First, Laura, this looks terrific.
No, well, thanks.
I love how fifth graders wrap around.
It's not, it's hanging on barely.
Absolutely, I like that. Literally.
Yeah.
I took a couple of pictures of the walls, and my mind tried to them out, because they have your heads and stuff in it, so, right?
Your heads.
I don't want to,
Which side?
I
well,
know.
I was interviewed the other day on TV, and the reporter said, here, and I said, that's really my bad side. And he did, so that's nice. So, just look at the norms and just refresh yourself with what our norms are. We've operated well underneath them. Yesterday was a great day, and Tony, we're glad that you joined us yesterday. And today will hopefully be just as productive. We're still gonna leave in about 30 minutes to get over. I think it'll take us, at least 15 minutes to get, does anybody know the room number? I don't know that I wrote that down.
That was the chambers.
It's just the chambers, okay. So, well, the chamber's easy to find. I thought maybe we'd be downstairs in one of the basement rooms we have to search for. All right, so why don't all of us just take a few minutes and just familiarize ourselves with the charts. So, since we did actually take the time to cut and paste and do all of that, why don't we just do our own gallery walk? And you might get with one other person or two other people and go from chart to chart and just see what you notice most. And several of you said when we walked in, we noticed the unbalanced distribution already. And we get it. Those of us who are responsible for literacy in our building, we understand that K and 1 are really about teaching kids to read. And 2 on, we're teaching kids to read and learn. So we understand there's some balance, there's some part of balance that's good. But this may be, this is a great visual for what we were talking about yesterday as how when we teach, we feel like it's overwhelmingly concentrated all of the effort. Great. So take a few minutes, find a person or two, and just refresh yourself with what's up there.
Now, I do have one thing, on the placemat here, 2 and 3 were switched around from what the GLEs had. So, the 2 and 3 are the GLE, not the placemat.
Thank you.
So, I think that's what that was.
So strand 2, principles and purposes of government. So,
Right, which.
well, that's the standard back.
Right, she's got what I said according to this, so I'm not going by this. So.
Magic fingers. Let's do this.
What are you doing?
Yeah. It doesn't have to look bad. I mean, everything else does, so this will be okay. Yes, sir. This is weird.
Good morning. Got a greenish shirt. Just like, one of my favorite to wear. I'll wear it out.
My wife came home this side.
Just put it on. Absolutely, I get it. So what were you?
And then all this, especially, is a lot. So they're going with this industry. She was very friendly.
Here we've got
Yes, of course, it applies.
Yes.
classroom flavors. So this
So we may move. All of these.
Exactly.
This is strange.
I'm sorry.
We'll have to update you.
Friday, no mystery.
So what do you?
So this.
Right.
On strange reasons, all the way through grade. Doesn't even show it right. Yeah. And this one's definitely. Little kids get relationships. Right, I mean, that, they did that. Right.
So like here's our first motion So we did this one.
Which is.
Which is why we.
I did one of my top 6 with
And where are we gonna fit citizenship?
Oh, yeah. It's called children's relations, really.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So that's a place, is that to do something about local connections? I kind of like that idea of local connections. I kind of like that
So
idea.
add local to 6.
Instead of
Citizenship.
right, yeah, I don't think it's now maybe it's one local connections.
Well, that's what happens when you have to get those matches.
Fifth grade is so. All trans. Yes, no, 6 is.
But see, all
6 is there, that's ridiculous. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's not,
the more previous skills introduced to get in, and that can be done, but it's just.
He was thinking of principals.
I think we started a little.
It goes back to that idea that we want to have this more connected human being. What you think about it?
I'm learning that.
There's
But so they're all. We have a lesson here but the person who just workforce, I mean, ask the
This appears, this is a lot of things about. This one uses. And what's the site, this is also. You get cities, kind of regions, so this one's kind of out of place, I think. Right, so this one's just messed up. This one's primarily state, and that one's primarily all nation. So third grade seems to be right. Nothing's real world. And the question is that you want to go there. Then the regions are the country, and then the country. So, but I think the shift. Some of that's.
Because they're values is one thing, and a person across. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do, but I think.
I'm not saying that.
No, no, I know, yeah, I guess before we get to the formation, we're not really considering, it's just kind of spiraling. I
Teachers
guess.
get lost.
It starts, yeah, it's,
It maybe starts, so it is, for instance, we have, say this,
Without you guys, we have
you know, the national anthem. I wish we could set up the national anthem, because it makes sense to have it within the region. But before we get to, we really want to commit to probably.
No.
But what you could do at the earlier stage, talk about how we have a national anthem, like, what does that mean in your life? What does that mean?
That's
for
part
you?
of culture.
You can put the national anthem, you can introduce it in kindergarten. And I'll give you a good reason for that.
Yeah, that's, I mean, so this is in your lifetime, what does it mean?
Locally, it's got such a range.
Yeah.
This is one thing that's
It's a
always.
horrible
I heard that from
Let's
mom.
introduce, the national anthem, introduce it in kindergarten. Because you're gonna get an introduction. You can
It's
use it
never,
exactly in.
Yeah.
But if it's my child is reciting it, talking about the songs in 50 states or whatever, then when they're in the fourth grade and you start talking about the states, like, oh, I remember that song, this and this, this and this. So then
Where are
they
they?
will start to make sense of people, but there's not much of actual content knowledge being put into their brain that I don't know.
we really should start.
Oh, yeah,
Things that we
oh,
didn't
yeah.
have heard in because we felt like it was
Music.
important, felt cultural.
Music, it doesn't have to be a
And
social
like you
science.
said, that's that verb,
Music.
what is it recite?
To look at it
Versus.
Right.
Describe the
Explain.
meaning.
Right, and it's okay for kids to recite something. Right.
Well,
Especially kids, and so what maybe what happens with these problems become issues. So it's nationalist, you know, it's statish, it's community-ish. But that there are some things that we're doing that we don't have the ability to that next level.
see, I was using this, and it kind of goes with curriculum too. But when I was talking about the fourth grade, or in fifth grade, we used to do the states and the Missouri history and stuff, and it got moved down to fourth grade. But we always had, certain skills introduced at this level, and then as you went along, it was improved upon or more challenging as it went along. But at least you have an understanding of, okay, here it is introduced, here's what we're going to enforce it, here's what we're going to teach them. By this age, we want them to master it. Where has all that gone?
It's kind of junk.
It's gone away. And that's one of the ways I'm looking at it. National anthem, you pledge allegiance, put it in kindergarten. Reciting it, even if you don't know the words, at least it's in brain. If you hear it over and over again, pretty soon, right here, you can say, right, at least an adult.
What they can do.
Yes, yes, we do.
Well, see, now ours does it.
I agree.
It's not a part of the
It's
morning.
not a part of the morning.
It's part of it.
And
That's it.
that's where you you know, to bring more to
That's what I was, that's what we need.
just
And when
one
we
more.
start passing, okay,
This should be allegiance of school community. So what's in here, what isn't, you got you and Aaron get together on this, so let's figure out. Nice word relationship.
Something like this.
connectedness I mean, like Ebola, people
Right. Yeah.
you know, or it remind me as a person. What happened in the property doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. If that one's, you feel it's yeah, because that's the sense I think we can allow.
And I was satisfied with that.
But we had to. Yeah.
Hear anything else, you know? I wouldn't do it.
And I would rather have someone look at it and not see it and say, well, that's the wrong thing.
Right, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So, one of the, I think the terminology that is most reflective really of the Monday's possible.
Right.
So I was like, the idea of looking for connections, for connections.
I'll blame the other.
Yeah. That's not, that's a trend, it's not one. So that's right, we figure out how to make sure that we're helping our kids get ready for that.
I know that we're still teaching reading, I get that, but they can't really. Yeah, you're not right. We're gonna send them out, as we're walking across the crosswalk.
And like I said, we don't know on the kids in fourth and fifth grade.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's why they freak out.
Yeah, when I'm teaching this at home.
That's why I said yesterday, we're gonna have to.
I was like,
So
oh, yeah, we have nothing,
outrageous.
nothing to write.
You got it.
Forget it, right?
I mean, they need this. Kids will need this.
Yeah, the situation. Now, what's funny is most kids teach us like a personal history.
Yeah, we had it covered,
So,
But they don't tie it in.
no, they don't.
They need to tie it in. They need to tie it in.
They've got Missouri rivers and some of the things around us, and then they have contributions to Martin Luther King. I don't know.
Yeah, it's,
He's
third
probably-
grade is
he's
straight out
probably
the
get a lot of
street.
third grade teachers wanna move now.
You know why it's in there? You know why it's in there?
Yeah, that would be my preference.
What do you think?
We want to say it there and
You-
cause a riot.
You know why this is in here? Assessments.
It's on the map.
Probably.
Some of it is on the map.
I do not,
We have
don't remember.
We have
On the
this.
social study, a little social studies map or
I was
the English
thinking
language
comma.
arts?
Yeah, there is no social studies.
I know.
I know, that's why
But it's part of it, used to, I don't know, they may have changed it, but I remember this was, but see, even on the achievement test, like the Stanford, Terranova,
Oh,
this,
that's fine.
this is down here. Martin Luther King, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, they are in here, but there's nothing taught, unless you happen to be President's Day, you know, February, we throw it all for one day, we got a fun Friday, we'll throw that in one time. One of the dumbest questions I ever, why would you ask a first grader, which one is closest to our time? And they put those 4 names out there. First graders have no time concept, why even put it in there? Now, if you were to ask a simple recall question like, who was the founding father of who was considered founding father of our nation? Who was a president that helped, you know, and do it that way. But when you do a time concept at this level, forget it. I watched my kids miss their question over and over, and I just got to the point where
Who wrote the test?
Terranova.
It's on the Terranova?
It's on the Terranova. And Stanford put it in there too. And then the symbolisms, you know, the national symbols like the American flag, White House. Why would you put, you're supposed to know the national symbol for Congress, the building, the Capitol. But you put in the White House in the same picture lineup. To a first grader, they look the same because it's a spatial relationship.
The one that got me was kindergartners stand every morning and say the pledge. So the pledge and the identification of the flag and everything, it's gotta move.
Yeah.
It's way too high.
Yeah, oh, that's what I said too. It needs to come down to kindergarten.
they can match it up with kindergarten.
And
And I
like I
think they
said,
should be talking about the need, like, so then I'm thinking a progression might be for like site. Then
Clearly,
I talk about the meaning
I'm
behind
clearly-
specific words.
I get you.
Then I talk about the
You
meaning
need to go down to get solid
together.
cotton.
I know it, I see that. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't mean that like, I mean, you gotta get
Absolutely,
solid cotton.
unless you're really.
historical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Maybe, others apply the concept from
You're right.
international agents. So you're, as you move up, you still use it later, that's the application of.
Because it's a lifelong concept you're gonna have to know. All the way through. But yeah, I printed out that spreadsheet. I looked at that and I'm going, there is nothing. In those, I mean, there's nothing there.
It's telling, and then when you look to create units,
Just grow bigger each day.
like across those, I mean, that's a whole nother level, right? So I'm gonna teach a unit, I'm gonna teach social studies units, and you go, okay, let me put some standards together across these. Oof, it's hard. There are some that naturally fit there, usually the 1 and 2 fit pretty much together, but then you start to try to make this manageable, it's hard because it's all over the place. So we're not thinking, okay, how does the child relate to the geography around them? How does the child relate to the history around them? How does the child, in that vein? If you can do that, then you can create that.
It's
We have a video of how this really goes
Okay, that's,
conversation,
okay.
because that would be interesting.
Okay,
I don't know why.
Alright, so we have, just a couple, we have about 9 minutes or so before we have to get up and move. Let's do one go around, just so you can say what you notice and, what you're thinking as far as when you see this, what's your first, snapshot of what you think our task is, in your mind?
Let's start with Laura, since she was the instigator of this.
Oh, well, thank you.
We don't know, we're allowed to call her the queen, so that's.
Your Highness.
No, I think,
She must be a babe.
I'd like to see more defined categories. Like I don't like to see kindergarten working on self, or first grade working on community, and second grade working, like smaller picture to larger picture. And I think if we have that, then everything under it's gonna be much easier to manage. That's my concern.
My concern is the whole structure that we have to, there is stuff in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade that can be moved down into kindergarten. And again, being aware of the developmental level, but we all agree, kindergartners can catch information, they may not know the full meaning of that information, but once we start inputting it, and then at a later date, they can pull back, or they can pull it back out, and we can go into deeper thoughts and stuff, but at least we have what I always call a foundation for it. So I'm all for moving some of the concepts in 4th grade at a developmental level down in kindergarten and 1st grade.
Yeah, my first couple things I noticed were just some things I repeated, but just the lack of consistency, especially in history, it feels like to me. History and the 6. So I was noting that just the 3 and 6 seem to me to be some areas that need, I don't know if they need to be beefed up. But I'm still not sure exactly what that means. If we're adding things, if we're taking things and just sliding them down, and then how does that, so how does that mean we're adding other things, or does that mean perhaps just that we're going to slide things down? But I look at the history things. The first thing that stood out to me when I first looked at it was the amount of geography I found kind of surprising. And part of that was because I felt like maybe yesterday we spent so much time talking about number 1, but if you look at number 1 comparatively with numbers, it's not even all that. There's not much there, and we haven't quite got to 5. But then I also noticed if you look at 3, there's nothing, and then all of a sudden in 4th grade there's a whole bunch. And so I think that's why I agree with what Laura said of having themes, because I think it also allows us to see, kind of a big picture type of person, so it allows me to think that when kids leave in 5th grade, they should have a sense of, they would have a sense of who they are and where they kind of fit in to a larger scheme of things also, who would set up that idea, that they would have a sense of, their history, a sense of where they fit in terms of different types of levels of being, whether it's being a citizen or what I call it. So I think, I like a lot of the ideas that we've got started.
When we think about where we put citizenship, I think, there are definite, I can see some holes or some strands that are smaller that citizenship would fit right into. And it's interesting, if you look at 6, maybe that's where we include our global connections or cultural connections or whatever we're going to call it, to really help kids. How do I fit within traditions and institutions around me? How does my community fit within that and build out? I think that's a great place for that. So the things that we have noticed already, I can see when you put up here where I've seen the connections of where they could fit. But I completely agree that conceptually kids may not be able to get something from 4th and 5th grade, but where they sure can start the scaffold to learn it in 1st or in kindergarten.
And I was kind of thinking about what Alden was pointing out, and that creates some dilemmas about, so if you provide that scaffold, that's when it starts to feel a little scattered. So how do you make that cohesive? I was kind of looking at it, thinking about how we do math at elementary in our district. So we have this math time during the day that's kind of focused, teaching a new skill or concept and working on that during that time. And then there's kind of that kind of morning type calendar type math that's everyday practice. And I was kind of thinking about social studies in terms of citizenship is kind of that everyday practice. But yet there's these other content pieces that are really specific. And I thought, I wonder, I don't know, I'm kind of rolling around in my thinking, how could there be this citizenship piece that includes those things about democracy that build and scaffold all the way along, but then there's this other kind of historical piece, or whether it's grounded in that, or the relationships and to people and groups and institutions, that whole big long thing, whether those things are kind of almost a different chunk that fit together. Because we've talked about how important we think citizenship is. So how could that particular thing be kind of maybe that everyday thing? I don't know. Just thinking though, nothing other than thinking.
I hadn't really thought of that. I was thinking kind of on the same lines as you guys, if we had some kind of a theme, for 1st grade, kindergarten, and so on, then you'd have a place to kind of put everything where it makes sense. But then if you look at that, then maybe if we start moving stuff down and then putting it throughout, we have to, maybe we just look at wording of how it's worded. It may not, maybe the same concept, just the wording would be different depending on where it falls. Okay, maybe it has to do with me here, maybe it has to do with the world here. That might be the option, I guess.
I would question about moving things. We just do that. Mentioned earlier, then where that sequence, when we talked about scope and how we want to focus on sequence, well, it's going to be kind of tricky if you start moving things and then you put it somewhere else. Then you're almost getting into scope. But the verbs have something to do with that, whether it's recite or identify or define or whatever. But that's just what's occurred to me, as I said.
My first thought is, I think most everybody heard it, I don't think that we tap into young children's ability to memorize information that they may not fully understand, but they can memorize so that as they develop, and they keep hearing that same information, they can start connecting it to what they already know. Oh, I know that's a state, and one of the 50 states, I've sang the song better than they sing it, and then they add it to what they know. So giving them information to memorize at a young age so that they can build as they grow and gain more.
I'm agreeing pretty much with everything that everyone else has noticed. The one thing that maybe I would add would be looking at the inquiry, what's listed in that inquiry form. Does it make developmentally appropriate sense? Because I noticed in some of these, especially at the early grades, they're talking about using primary, secondary sources. Are we really, I don't want us to lose that inquiry part, especially if we go to a more strand-based, developmentally appropriate way of organizing these. And also making sure we look at those, because those become important. Because those, I think, for me, they help guide how we explore the content and how the methodology that we, and the processes we expect of our children to explore the individual content as well. And so making sure we put that into it. It's going to help us.
Any other comments about
Yeah,
that?
I just want real quick, but I was just thinking, the math starts at third, and then fifth grade they had science. You just think fifth grade with all that, and adding another test too, is a lot.
Would you almost rather start and look at 7 instead of 1? If you're saying that inquiry affects everything else.
Be an easy
I mean,
start,
there's nothing
maybe.
to say we have to do in order. It's just whatever you guys think would make more sense.
For me, I think, as I heard a lot of us talking about, is it's pretty clear that fifth grade is a nation level. And right now, fourth is state, largely. And then sequencing this in a way that still holds that, but provides, Craig said the right word, scaffolding of some key information that we think, as we look at fifth grade and work backwards and say, okay, in fifth grade, we're saying they're looking at from the national, learning this content from a national perspective of how it applies to the nation. How do we work backwards to scaffold that and make sure that when they get to fifth grade, they've had opportunities to be introduced to and explore that content. So that's not like suddenly it's dump, fifth grade dump of all this new stuff.
But that's a big jump from state to nation.
It is. I mean, my own preference would be to put a region in between. I know a lot of schools do talk about regions, and so we're talking about the Midwest region. We're talking about
That's what they used to do.
yeah, and so a lot of schools still do that. But that, the other thing that occurred to me, and I can't believe I forgot about it, is that there are tests, not necessarily state tests, state assessments, but there are those other assessments that I heard people talking about, and understanding those we're looking at too. I don't know, should that drive us, but it is something to.
You ring the bell, but time for clock.
It's the perfect time because I finished
On that note, if he has something more to say,
We don't walk out.
you can leave your things because I think Toby and Bill are going to stay here so that it's not.
Oh my God. Oh my soul. The post dispatch says, this is jacked up. It said Craig Carson.
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm serious. Is it really?
That was probably
Did they also get lipstick on the pig? Did they get lipstick on the pig in there too?
Was that the next camera?
Oh,
Oh my
you just a troublemaker, aren't you?
You might be
Yeah,
Did it what? Is that we're confused?
the whole process.
First and Elizabeth, Congress Watkins was one of the missing numbers. Those were a little surprising, Toby Watkins.
Oh, good grief.
It was a lady right back
The
there.
lady
with
that was sitting
video
there with the
camera.
camera.
Oh, yeah.
She was, there was a video camera that was filming.
Yeah, she was sitting right there.
And there was one lady right there that had a video.
That was
Oh, that's
videotaping.
true.
That's not even in reference to what it says now.
Boy, there's a hard one.